Hold on to your hats because we've got a story that will leave you breathless. A group of adventurers have captured something on camera that has shocked the whole world, and it all happened in a river. We're talking about a discovery that has scientists and historians scratching their heads as it completely turns upside down what we thought we knew about the area's history. So get ready to be amazed as we dive deep into what they captured in a river that shocked the whole world. This is a story you don't want to miss. Really, you see unbelievable things happening in this video. Quickly give this video a like and subscribe to stay up to date on all our gripping stories. Now, let's begin. The two-headed catfish. That might sound like a mythical marine animal, but this creature is real. Last year in November, a small two-headed catfish was captured in a river. Although it is very rare because such mutants usually don't survive and die immediately after birth, this small catfish with a fully grown second head in the place of its tail was filmed. Defying all the odds, a lot of commentators started joking about the fish, and some even claimed it to be a fake one. However, the way the creature was wriggling seemed real. What do you guys say? Fish swimming without a body? Can you guys figure out which species of fish this is? Well, if you guys guess right, that's off to you, because it took me a long time to understand what I was looking at. This confusing critter was discovered by a fisherman in the clear waters of Maldives. Surprisingly, with 90% of the body missing, the fish was observed swimming normally, just like other sea creatures. It must be painful for the fish to survive like this in a world full of predators. Yet for the spectators, it was truly unbelievable. Some people stated it was functioning because its brain was alive, but I'm still puzzled over its unique survival skill. Strange creature of Brunei. Some of the strange aquatic animals, including mysterious alien-like creatures, have baffled the whole netizens community, and many of them are still unidentified. One of these unknown lifeforms stunned people in 2017 when it was discovered swimming in a river in Brunei. The beast with a bizarre toothy snout appeared on the river just like an alligator and swam swiftly across the surface. The person who filmed it called it a mutated guard, but many think that it might be a new species, as nothing like that was seen before in that river. Huge anaconda. If the zombie croc didn't send you cold chills, I'm sure that this will. Or at least it'll make you think twice before you plan a cruise to the Amazon River. A heart-stopping moment was filmed in a Brazilian river when a couple of tourists spotted a giant snake swimming in the murky water. But as it had already eaten something large, the heavy snake headed off after striking the boat of the terrified visitors. One of them, however, grabbed the huge anaconda by its tail and dragged it across the river. As the boat paddled off, the giant snake might have fought back, but since it was incapacitated, it eventually wriggled free and swam away. River monsters. These fishermen couldn't believe their good fortune when they pulled in one of these massive fishes, which are among the world's oldest and most spectacular species. Sturgeons are ancient fishes that have thrived in rivers across the globe for over 130 million years. And the massive size of these creatures indicates they have been hidden out in the river's depths for at least a few centuries. The sturgeon, captured in northeast China, was over PS 700 and about 10 ft long. Due to their skill in evading capture and hiding in plain sight, few people can claim to have seen a monster fish up close. We wouldn't want to be in the water with a fish that seems like it might swallow a human whole, and it's rather terrifying to stand next to one. However, this enormous sturgeon is undeniably one of the most bizarre things ever discovered in a river. It kind of made us reconsider going for a dip in rivers in the future. If you've made it this far and haven't subscribed to this channel, what are you waiting for? Do it now. It's totally free and you'll have good fortune for a whole week. Teethy river monster. Just because we know what scary creatures are roaming around in rivers doesn't make them any less scary. And you should check whether the river you are planning to make a swim in has a reputation for being infested with bull sharks before you get your toes wet. Bull sharks can survive in salt water and fresh, meaning there's nothing stopping them from coasting up the local rivers, and this happens quite often. This makes bull shark one of the most dangerous species we know of. And it doesn't help that these sharks are known to be incredibly aggressive. These sharks like to hunt in waters where people frequently swim, making them one of the scariest things to come across in a river. Seeing such a monster swimming right beside you while you are in a small canoe must be heart-stopping though, and we aren't sure how one would even begin to mentally recover from an encounter like this. Sometimes these aggressive bull sharks have come across unfriendly crocs in their journey up the river. We have been lucky enough to catch one or two of these encounters on camera. Crocodile with a tire necklace, a huge cash prize for anyone who can help this monster. Yes, you heard that right. This cash prize announcement was made back in 2016 in Indonesia for an endangered Siamese crocodile that was spotted with a rubber part from a vehicle stuck on its body. The distressed animal was thought to be stuck in trouble for over half a decade and left wildlife officials fearing because the growing reptile could be strangled by the inelastic item. However, after several failed attempts, the tire necklace was cut off from its neck and it was released back to its home. Yet it is still unclear how this fearsome monster got stuck in the rigid rubbery trouble in the first place. Swamp people many have been captivated by the mysterious allure of the swamp inhabitants of the Gulf of Morbihan in France. This is an intriguing art exhibit, reflecting our tense relationship with nature rather than hideous mummified swamp creatures frozen in time. At first there were only 2 mystery figures, but now there are other statues. If you were walking adjacent to a swamp and came across these agonized figures with no idea what their deal was, you would probably be a little spooked out. This is undoubtedly one of the most fascinating artworks we've seen in quite some time. The colors and textures of the Gothic figures shift and evolve over time in response to the organic surroundings. This means that visitors might impact the region and return to entirely different sculptures. And if this were not captured, we would not have believed the swamp people really existed. Japanese giant. The Japanese giant salamander is the world's 3rd largest amphibian. This mysterious creature is known to be a river guardian. Despite its fish-like appearance, the Japanese giant has 2 hands, and this makes the animal appear creepy. They can weigh up to PS55 and measure nearly 5 ft in length. They live on land and in water. This already terrifying monster is naturally hostile, and we wouldn't want to be around if one of these river giants awoke and decided to fight. I bet no one would be able to struggle against their powerful force. However, these enormous beasts are today endangered species, and Japanese officials are doing everything possible to safeguard the few that remain. One of the challenges is habitat loss, and the natural regions they may occupy are shrinking by the day. Nevertheless, these ancient species have not been extinct in the last 20 million years, making them one of the world's oldest animals. Nightmare fuel lamprey eels are known as the vampires of the river world, and we can clearly see why these jawless parasitic fish have rows upon rows of jagged teeth it uses to tear its victim apart. While this doesn't make us feel great, this next footage first clip caught by a fisherman on a river shocked and terrified the whole world. What he caught was a gnarly-looking lamprey eel. The only problem was that it was about 100 times bigger than we are used to seeing them. While these scary eelfish are usually only a few inches long, this minster fish's head was significantly bigger than the man's fist. The horrifying size of this vampire fish makes us feel deeply unsettled, and it's one of the scariest things we have ever seen hiding in the depths of rivers. We would have been better off never seeing this cursed river monster, and it is sure to haunt our nightmares. Now, make sure you subscribe to our channel and like this video before we go on to have good fortune for a whole week. Bogged in time over the past 2,000 years, researchers have unearthed a wide variety of artifacts from the bogs of northern Europe. These include everything from sacrificial tools and weapons to human remains. Workers clearing a drainage trench in the bog came across the ancient and mummified remains. The man's skin was well maintained and became nearly leathery due to the conditions in the marsh, but his bones calcified. Normally he was called the Old Crawling Man. We fear what else might be lurking in the murky depths of Europe's marshes. Given that this individual has probably been here for hundreds of years, the circumstances of the man's death are a mystery. Although many experts speculated that he was killed as part of a ritual human sacrifice performed by Celtic kings, but there was no proof to back up such an assumption. Secret underwater river. Although a river flowing underwater seems completely impossible, this is exactly what happens in a small, unassuming stream in the Yucatan Peninsula. This is the start of one of the coolest naturally occurring phenomena we have ever seen. River flowing completely apart from the rest of the water body. Known as 𝗏 Angelita, this insane underwater river reaches down to nearly 300 ft at its deepest. One of the most striking and intriguing things about this underwater river is that you can swim here and explore the beautiful scenery and trees that rest at the edge of the underwater riverbanks. This is one of the coolest things to see. Trapped in a fishing net, but finding a prehistoric fish trapped in a fence is genuinely unbelievable. 8 years back in Texas, an explorer came upon a surprising sight while assessing the damage left behind by a massive hurricane. Just after the floodwater receded, a 3-foot dino-looking bony fish with scales forming a hard armor was found trapped in a metal fence. The ancient fish was identified as a juvenile long-nosed 𝗪, which might have tried to swim past the chain-link fence during the high flood, yet unfortunately couldn't make it to get to the other side, had remained stuck there. 𝗏𝗄𝐿𝐼 𝗏𝗏 river in Thailand is home to an annual festival and a very strange naturally occurring phenomenon when once-a-year inexplicable red fireballs rise into the sky from the river. This spectacle is best seen at night, and crowds gather every year to watch this mystifying light show in the sky. These red fireballs rise to as high as 600 ft in the air, and old mythology in the area claims that these fireballs are made by some ancient river serpent who lives in the deep and only comes up to witness the annual celebrations. The serpent is said to blow the fireballs from within his stomach. And while there was apparently a giant creature caught in the river in the early 1930s that many people believe to have been the monster behind these fireballs, the 𝗏𝗏 fireballs continue though, and whether this occurrence is due to spontaneously igniting methane bubbles or some ancient underwater dragon, we can only guess. If you enjoyed this content, please consider liking and subscribing for more crazy clips. Are you curious about more shocking discoveries? Then click on one of the following videos.